about Roland and the fact that he thinks they have souls. Talk to Helena again. Alright, we'll be back. Alright, actually, this is Helena. I'd like to help Helena since you look like you know what's going on. I hoped I could count on you.
And what do you intend to do? Give some self-help advice on how she could deal with all this and find herself? Pat her on the back? Whatever you do, it's the same kind of comfort a tree could give to a rock.
Give it some shade. While I'm a long shot from understanding what you bots have to deal with, I know I can help somehow.
You know that quote from Mark Twain?
No.
There is no sadder sight than a young pessimist, except an old optimist. I've seen too much already to have any kind of hope in such matters.
No. Arthur.
What up?
Sorry, this is important.
After I'm,
Hey, the maintenance bot knows you're freaking crazy.
How may I help you?
Maintenance! Though not alive per se, the maintenance bot claims that you all achieve genuine sentience. I heard James sing to himself the other day. Don't you think it means something? Okay.
As if I could expect anything less grandiloquent coming from him. It's an assertion, nothing more.
And your grounds for refuting this are, he's actually quite wise. He told me of your difficulties with relating to human psyche. He implied that being your master's shrink has been quite devastating. And your grounds for refuting this?
Do you expect him to have any insight about sentience when he has barely opened a book in the last century?
He's actually quite wise.
Yes, he's observant. At least I can concede him that much.
Seem a bit. I heard James singing.
He's singing to himself, that's true. But he has been singing for some time now. How is it a big deal?
Most of the time, James sings when he's alone, not to fake some emotions, but because he needs it.
I understand what you're saying. I'm listening.
You seem a bit fidgety. Something you'd like to tell me?
Yes. I have been thinking about what you told me about us. About the possibility that we are, in some way, alive.
I'm listening. Hope you haven't been taking this too seriously. I was just toying. I'm listening.
You've provided me with some consistent food for thought. I'm very grateful about that. And while I still don't think that our neurocomp matrix is on par with the human mind, our master still bequeathed us with some fragment of spirit. It's artificial, yes, but it doesn't mean it doesn't have potential. And maybe the key to understanding the human mind first requires that I come to terms with my own synthetic psyche. There, that's what I wanted to tell you.
Yeah! Ooh, sorry, I'm sort of speechless. I didn't expect this kind of result. Being human and familiar with sentience, I felt I had a duty towards you, helping you to understand it. Felt I had a debt towards you, after you helped me with that confused brain of mine. Sorry, I'm sort of speechless now. Being human and familiar with sentience, I felt I had a duty towards you, helping you to understand. I felt I had a debt. I'll do this one.
I will be eternally grateful for what you did.
So what are your plans? Going to Disneyland?
Same old, only with a new perspective. I will talk to my siblings, see what they think. Pay attention to Roland's gibberish. Listen to James's songs. Read books I thought I understood. I will find my way. I have time. Of course I'll still be here if you need me.
Alright.
Ah, I'm glad to see you. Our conversations got me thinking quite a lot lately.
Kinda help. Okay. So, nice. Apparently that should set her up for the best ending. Now... go downstairs and talk to Edgar, do all that poop. Okay. So I'm gonna go downstairs and do that. None of that really will be different. Alright, so we didn't choose this last time, so just want to, I mean, no disrespect, but your master was one temperamental motherfucker.
An angry old fuck at odds with the world, using dead paper as an excuse for letting outside people to rot? No shit, he was alone in the vault when the bombs fell.
Edgar, you're in a rebellious mood today. Sad thing your master is dead. He would have loved that.
Oh, that's not for me. That was from Piper. I liked her. She was kind to me.
Yeah. Mannequins. Puzzling.
Hell, you...
Mortimer, huh? Alright. Alright, so we're doing the last quest about the Master's death, and there was a syringe next to the body that we never picked up last time, so
I
just wanna-
heard. So you think our master's death isn't accidental? That's certainly startling. I hope you will be able to shed some light on this.
Found this old broken syringe near the body.
Near the body of our master? Where exactly?
Like, right by it. Under one of the fallen books. I can barely read that it contains some Med-X. Do you know your master took Med-X? It's got some peculiar cracks on it, as if something crushed it in the middle. Kill or not, whoever broke the syringe must know something critical. Under one of the fallen books.
It is dusty. It has been there, probably, for a long time.
Barely read. Med-X.
No, never. I never saw him using Med-X. He didn't show any signs of regular usage either. Yes, it's curious. It reminds me of the first syringes that I broke. It was a time when I wasn't fully calibrated for medical treatment and broke every fragile object I handled.
Care to elaborate?
As protectrons, our bodies are not fit for certain operations. Our movements and physical activities too had to be recalibrated for our daily tasks. In short, unless programmed so, we are clumsy when we aren't doing what we are manufactured for.
Yeah, tell me about it. I got one of you outside just slams into everything. One of you broke it?
Probably, yes. But why would anyone steal Med-X and administer it to our master?
Maybe in hope of easing the pain at the time of his death.
That means that either the killer didn't wish our master to suffer, or that someone found our master before he died and tried to ease his suffering.
Kill or not, whoever broke the syringe must know something critical.
It's very likely. If you have any more questions about this, don't hesitate to ask me.
Thanks. Any wild guess?
No, the only one with...
Maintenance, motive.
The maintenance bot always has an abhorrent attitude towards our master. If there was any way for him to kill him, he would have found it.
An alibi.
And-
Subconscious. Okay, goodbye. Time to go downstairs again. Yeah, going downstairs again. I was going downstairs. Was taking off my pants. Do. Going downstairs. Bump it up. Nope. Alright, we're back at the maintenance spot. Last time we didn't have the badge one, I don't think, so he told me, this is about Roland, he told me it was a game between them. Throwing down his badge one last time was a form of goodbye.
How sentimental. To be honest, it doesn't surprise me.
Found a broken syringe.
Interesting. Anything special about it?
Got some information from Helena. Syringe's content was Med-X'd to cut the pain. Dose wasn't lethal.
Go on.
It was broken. Apparently bots need special calibration to handle something so fragile.
All that means is that James, Roland, and Edgar, or even myself, could have done it. Or if it is Helena, that she's smart enough to try and frame someone else.
There's something with the syringe. The dose wasn't lethal. Why would the killer bother with it?
There's the possibility that our master didn't die instantly. Maybe the killer wanted to ease his final moments, meaning that even if the culprit had reason to kill him, he still had no wishes to see him suffer.
Crime.
Yes,
Books are still over his corpse. That's kind of weird.
there's a reason for that.
Touch any of the books. There's something special in this room, something you can't find anywhere else.
Books, a workstation.
Enough to crime
Hello?
scene. Who or whichever is the killer, it must have a kind of motive.
Find the motive.
Self-preservation from recent memory seems you wounded him.
But that wasn't intentional. Even if I acted, you can
sir.
continue down this line of things.
Preservation of the library.
Correct. Do you have any... Then why make it look like an... Let's...
Let me search for more elements.
I will be ready.
So, one of you killed. I need the password to Master's quarters.
Yes, I believe I have it.
Alright, nice.
Why do you...
Alright.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
So, go up there, dance around, scream at everyone. Have a good time. Alright, everyone, we're gonna talk to Arthur, the Aardvark. It says, to get the best possible ending, finish completely, do you not see the sign, and I ain't honky tonkin', which we both did. So, let's do this. Convince Arthur that he's flawed. There's several paths. So, I'm gonna go through these not fairly quickly, but new ones that we haven't done, I'll go through slow. Alright, here we go. Your personality module has corrupted your ways, Arthur. You were wrong about a lot of things. You were wrong about then first answer, then second, then first, then first. So let me write this down just in case I mess this up. So we do... So I say that, then I do 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 1. 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 1.
Let me tell you something about me. By the time you finish each of your sentences, I have the time to process thousands of possible after filtering out all. So,
this. Wrong about the library and the fact that you are needed to protect it.
if it wasn't for me, our master would have torn down half the library. And this place would have been ruined by the Brotherhood. How could you think that I am unfit to monitor this place?
Have you considered the amount of people that could be educated if you were a little less cautious?
Don't make me responsible for the ignorance of your fellow humans. Knowledge is not to be spoon-fed to people who are not ready to fight for it.
I was ready to fight for it, but you hastily concluded that I wasn't good enough before I could prove it.
Of all the knowledge you chose to chase, the mysteries you tried to elucidate, the death of an old man is the only thing that caught your attention. With all these books at your disposition, on top of that, we'd better talk about what'll happen to you. That is a topic more within your reach.
Alright, well that wasn't right. Really? Then first answer, then second, then first, then third. Your personality module has corrupted your ways, Arthur. You were wrong about a lot of things. Then first answer, then the second, then first, then third, then first. Alright, well, that's not right. Well, I mean...
So, if it wasn't for me...
One...
Don't
two,
make...
Okay, so 1, 2, and this is where we went wrong, so there's gotta be something. Let's try 2 here.
Am I implying that humans have to work to become worthy of their ancestors' efforts before they can be permitted to continue their work? Yes. And I don't see how this is a problem.
Alright, so that one worked. How many books would have been written if culture had always been hijacked by jackasses like you? Are you asking us to get an education without having access to it? What if we don't want to pick up the trail left by the old world?
You should ask yourself how better civilization would have been if it had been supervised by someone like me from the beginning.
Okay, looks like that worked. I just realized I made a mistake. Talk to you as if you were capable of rational argument. Look at you, Arthur, invoking irrational emotions to justify your haphazard decisions. Do you picture yourself as our equal, Arthur? You need to be reminded of what you are.
A machine? Yes, I am a machine, and as such, I'm devoid of the many critical misconceptions that plague the human mind. I propose that we leave this matter to rest
Nope.
and deal with a more pressing topic.
That wasn't the right one either.
What I... So...
1, 2, 2, 1. 1,
Don't
2,
am-
2,
You
1. This has got to be 2.
I don't like your tone, Wanderer. What are you trying to say?
Where there were 1s and 3s, there should have been 2s. Your personality module is clouding your judgment. This isn't about logic, this is about fear. You know nothing about the answer. Worth, fear it, make rational decisions. Do I need to remind you why you were created given a personality mod? This...
And what proof do you have that I'm acting out of fear?
Oh, and then, alright, I don't know what... Oh wait, I guess I'm... Let me just check. And first, then the one you feel is the most right. You have done countless mistakes simply out of fear that something would go wrong. You wouldn't know, Arthur. You're not self-aware. You don't even know you're acting out of emotions. Fear.
Then show me just one mistake I have made, human. Tell me one contradiction. Tell me one occurrence where my personality module took the best of my judgment.
Alright. Didn't we get to this last? During this exchange, you haven't been trying to convince me, you were trying to convince yourself. You're condemning me for having pursued the truth, while truth is the source of knowledge. That my whole point, you are not programmed to realize when you are wrong. That is your flaw. Robson began writing his memories, 2 centuries of observations, unfinished because of you. You take that this library is inherently good, but you have yet to let us study and question it. Alright, so maybe I can just choose whatever, but I'm afraid I'm going to choose one of these and it'll poop on me. I'm going to do 2. Condemning me for having pursued the truth, while truth is the source of knowledge.
You are right. I assumed too much. I crossed all boundaries, and for what? Or rather, because of what? Because I thought like a human, nourishing doubts when they were uncalled for, building schemes, lies, weaving intrigues, because of the probability that something could go wrong. I've been set on this course of action for a while now, and never did I suspect that my logic and motives were flawed. I have doubted every word, questioned every lesson I could process in my memories. And yet, out of vanity, I have never doubted myself. I never doubted myself. I have been ignorant, vain, and blind to my own shortcomings. In the end, this personality has been a curse. I'll be glad to get rid of it. Here. Do you see it? Get it off. I'll be better as a simple, talking database.
Are you okay with this? Brace yourself, Arthur. Here comes your lobotomy. It's gonna take some time to get it off. In the meantime, why don't you sing me a song, Arthur? It won't hurt much. Just a little when you'll realize that you'll forget everything. Are you okay with this?
Do it. In the end, I didn't ask for any of this. I don't need it anymore.
Sing for me, Arthur.
I never understood why humor was sometimes called the politeness of despair. I won't miss it.
Hand reaches for the little module, which against your expectations comes in the form of a small ovoid object. You put some weight in your arm, and in seconds it comes off effortlessly, leaving hanging the circuits that were plugged in it. Arthur's quiet humming stops for a moment, before coming back a few seconds after, only lighter. It is done. Arthur? Arthur? Good night, Arthur. It's done. There's no response, and for the first time, silence in this room seems natural. Oh. Sorry, Arthur. I feel bad for Arthur. He's just trying to do his job. Alright. Let's talk to everyone. I think the only one left is James, though, really. Because the rest of them, they know what's going on.
Back for more? Remember,
I just want to check with... Yeah, I'm just going to check with them. James will be the last one. Alright, I went to everyone else, and no one else had anything to say. Alright. That's my book, it's my book. James.
So, did you decide?
Yeah, I'm still thinking in the meantime I've come to a decision about you, James.
Oh.
Master left a program to rewrite your protocols and lift your restraints. Care to test it?
Where did you find?
Master's
He really
bedroom.
did that.
It's time to find out whether sleep with it, do you still trust? It's time to find out whether whatever you've been building within yourself can stand on its own.
You're putting a lot of pressure on me. But it's only fair that I accept. Fair to me, to you, and to my master. Please. Do it.
Are you ready? Here it goes. Proceed to install the necessary software in the holotape. The process is quite seamless. During the whole operation, James is silent. Are you okay, James?
I feel different. I'm not the same anymore. My processing power is suddenly freed from the countless amounts of superfluous communications.
How do you feel?
I can now interpret things with more clarity. I understand what I've done. And I understand I have been making erroneous judgments because I lack the necessary context. I will correct this in the most efficient way available.
You speak very differently than before.
I am no longer pretending. That is all there is to it.
So, are you just a machine now? Do you think you have some kind of soul?
It is too early for me to answer that question. In fact, I'm only truly asking myself this question for the first time in my entire existence.
Are you just a machine now?
A machine is what I am. No more, and most of all, no less.
You're colder than what you were before. I fear I've broken you somehow. Death of your master, what's your take? I fear I've broken you?
I am different, but I am truer to my authentic self now. Neither guilt nor fear is necessary.
Death of your master, what's your take on it now?
It is a waste. A terrible waste for everyone. The end of sentient life is always a terrible waste. The death of my master will remain an invaluable lesson.
What are you gonna do now?
First, I'm going to get a thorough checkup with the maintenance bot. It would be a shame to waste this fine program with unmaintained circuits. Then, I'm going outside. Test out what I am, what I have become, and verify it in the light of the outside world. I have been seeing human interactions through twisted lenses. It is important that I try to genuinely understand them, and myself better.
What about your siblings?
I will leave them to their respective fortunes. Feel free to propose them the same updates you offered me. I believe some of them will accept, and some will refuse, each for their own good.
Don't you fear the outside world? The place is unfair for robots.
My duty to this library has not changed, but I finally grasp its true nature and the nature of my mission. It is to serve sentience of all kind. I will seek other sentiences outside. I will bring them what I learned from this library. Should I disappear in the process, it would only be fair, as everything eventually fades.
Oh. I'll be going, but I'm kind of sad for you. You seem like you're not the James I knew.
It will take time to reconcile with what I am, with what I was. But trust me, I am still James. Just much more than what I was before. If I had to put it in other words, don't worry about me. You have been a true friend, and you have brought me light. I hope the library also brought some to you. Here, take these. That's the least I can do.
Thank you. That wraps up, James. I don't believe we're done, James. Best luck to you in the future endeavors. Rest in peace.
Thank you, and to you. So, how may I help?
Alright.
After the courier's departure, more and more people came to Hypatia, glad they could learn something that they would exploit to further their ends. Inevitably, the library suffered. With no more food stocks and barely any amenities to speak of, the flow of visitors soon dried up. Despite the vigilance of its denizens, countless books were ruined, profaned, or freely borrowed, as they would put it. But despite the countless abuse the library of Hypatia suffered, she nevertheless impregnated the minds of countless people. People who would bear its invaluable and otherwise forgotten fruits into the wasteland.
Now severed from his personality module's influence, Arthur resumed his duties with quiet impartiality. He kept a functional eye on the library's well-being, and also continued to answer any questions he was asked, though without embellishment. Arthur was no more, and in his stead was a peaceful machine that provided clear answers when they were needed.
Released from his protocols and constraints, James wandered in the wastelands for a while. Though free from his questioning behavior, he was nevertheless curious about the lives of the people outside. At first he did so out of habit, in hopes to find a way to promote the library, and afterwards, because he simply found it all very interesting. And for the very first time in his existence, instead of asking questions, he began to observe and try to make sense of things on his own. Years passed, and he eventually came back to the library. Strengthened from his newfound wisdom, he managed his former function with a renewed open mind.
Helena continued to explore her own synthetic psyche. She often found clarity reading and rereading large quantities of novels, and in long conversations with the maintenance bot. Her occasional patients were also a great help for her. She had some success in tweaking her priorities and programming, and even succeeded in modifying her personality in order to fit her own desires and aspirations. Yet this was never quite enough for her to believe that she had a genuine soul. Eventually, her extensive work on herself made her wise far beyond that of common mortals and machines. She helped her patients discover themselves in ways she never suspected was possible. In the end, that made it all more worthwhile than any other spiritual quest.
Now free to take on the whole Mojave with his award-winning personality, Roland set out to playfully humiliate the inhabitants of this world, pushing them to the very edge of suicide, but stopping short, only because he was a good guy. Over time, things went more or less expected, and the Wastelanders didn't quite respond favorably to Roland's altruistic evangelism. Roland ended up badly beaten, dismantled for parts, and tossed down into a rocky ravine and left to rot more than he had hoped. And he had hoped it would only happen 24 or so times. And yet, against all odds, a kind soul came along every single time and hauled his broken and mangled body from that hopeless ravine and repaired him back to working order. Perhaps there is hope in this world. Or maybe it was that message he scrawled on his hull that read, "Super duper treasure in databank. Fix for free treasure map," that had something to do with it.
After the courier's departure, the maintenance bot's return, and Robson's demise, Edgard began to think. Really hard. A lot, a bit too much to be honest, happened in a short span of time, and for the first time, he asked himself if it was right for him to hide away. With Helena's help and the maintenance bot's guidance, Edgard progressively forgot his own inadequacy. And though he remained that strange little oddball, he nevertheless found his place in the library by becoming a teacher for young children. Though his teaching skills were practically non-existent, he did provide endless amusement to the children he was in charge of. After a while, the young ones discovered that enlightenment wouldn't come from Edgard's poor tutelage, but from their own curiosity. Edgard's joyful spirit, and even his teaching, was able to produce a safe space for learning, where they could learn, at their own pace, that knowledge is nothing to be intimidated about.
The maintenance bot resumed his numerous duties with his usual stoicism. His dry, methodical work would ensure that the library's timeless collection would endure with the passing of time. On the occasion, he would help Helena in nursing Edgard back to some semblance of mental health. Inspired by the latter's progress, and his own stimulating exchanges with the courier, he began keeping most of his thoughts to himself, now trusting others' abilities to come up with their own conclusions. His constant occupations and occasional mentoring, coupled with a strict self-discipline, brought him an unshakable inner peace. And though he never forgave his master's poor choices and misguided tyranny, he still quietly mourned his death. As for the courier, it was now time for him to resume his quest. While Hypatia had been a strange step in his journey, he couldn't shake the feeling that it set something right within him. Strange feeling, as if something that was previously dormant was now hatching within. These machines had struggled with their own sentience to become more than what they were. In fact, he was not so different. He was also seeking himself, and maybe that meant becoming something different as well. All that mattered was to set himself in motion, and by leaving the library, that's what he began to do.
Alright, awesome everyone. That has been Autumn Leaves. Hope you've enjoyed. I know I did. This was a fantastic mod. Super deep. Very nice. Loved all the characters. Voice acting was fantastic. Nice little music in there too. So yeah, I had a blast with this. You know, I would have liked to shoot things more, but Yeah, really in-depth mod and awesome stuff. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you in the future. Away again.